Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It's been the
Yeah.
international break. We've been away, but now we are back. I'm Gianni, and I'm joined by regular co-host, all the way from San Diego, journalist and FPL enthusiast, Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, how are you, mate?
Yes, mate. Very good. Very good. This international break was fine. It was necessary and it was entertaining, so didn't have too much problem with it. But it does feel like a long time since my dismal 40-point game week last time out.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to go again. I need to make up for the disappointment of that one. So yeah, we've got a long stretch now, mate. We've got about 6 game weeks in the next month, I think. So it's going to be crammed there. We go from one extreme to another where we start to get the midweek deadlines and things like that. So hopefully chasing green arrows becomes an important part of people's lives over the coming weeks, because we'll be reminding you of the deadlines. We'll be here to help you through it all, taking your questions, and maybe getting my 7-year-old son into the top 1%, mate, if his plan comes into action. He's got his wild card, he's got his free hit, and yeah, he can get into that top 1%. So we'll be working towards that as well, hopefully.
Loving that. Hello to so many in the chat. Some of our regulars are Offcore and Eddie and Ryan. Paul is with us, 2FPL Down Under, FPL Hippie. If you want to come and say hello in the chat, do. We've got it set to subscriber only mode, so you got to hit the subscribe button, come say hi in the chat. Obviously, likes and subscribes nice and early are all very welcome, guys. Yeah, international break. It's been ages since FPL. Many of us had a bad week last time around, and when you have a bad week, you want to put it right. It's a shame we couldn't do that. But now, as Dean says, 6 game weeks in a month. December is the busiest month for FPL content, other than preseason and August, right?
Yeah.
Like December is where you're going to get more content than ever, other than preseason. So we're really looking forward to you guys coming part of our journey if you're new around here and follow us throughout December. We've got mid-game weeks as well. Like I think it's game week. Is it 14? I think it's the first week of December.
We're in December, isn't there? Yeah.
That'll be fun. So we'll probably do a deadline stream around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, do make sure you're following us with notifications on. But the big news from the international break is I am now getting more sleep. That's a big thing. With my 4-week-old.
What does that mean? Like 3 hours?
Yeah, we now get as many as 3.5 hours in one stint, which has gone up from like 90 minutes in the first couple of weeks.
Mate, yeah, that's not bad. I don't think I got to that point as quick as you have. So that's
we only get it once though in 24 hours. We get it between 9 and like half past midnight. 9 p.m. and half past midnight is usually, and that's when I have him. I put him down, and then at half midnight, 1 a.m. we swap bedrooms, and my wife takes over for the early shift.
Got you. Yeah. God, I remember all of that, mate. Well, you're doing well. You're looking alive and alert, so well done. Even if you don't feel it, you look it, so that's good. We'll see how it affects your FPL decision making. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Eddie because he said he's got to go early today. So he says, I've only got 15 minutes. Would you do a -4 from Gabriel to Van Dijk? And if Semenyo's fit, then do Enzo to Mbermo. Obviously, these are going to be 2 big talking points on the show today. So it's where we were going to pretty much start the show anyway, because everyone and their grandma has got these 2 players, Gabriel and Semenyo, and everybody's very worried about it. The hunch seems to be that Gabriel's going to be a bigger concern than the Semenyo one.
Yeah. Ornstein reported on the 18th, so a couple of days ago, and Arteta's not going to tell us much, but it's looking likely to be a minimum of a month and a maximum of 2 months. It's a groin issue. He didn't look happy when he came off. There's definitely cause for concern there. And even if it's like 3 weeks, that's still 4 game weeks. Like even if it's best case scenario, you're looking at it's almost like a definite sell. Because 4 game weeks is too much. FPL Team just received a membership. Love that. FPL Team is one of our regulars, has an awesome FPL tool. If you don't use it for your forward planning, check it out. But Glenn, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Really appreciate that, Glenn. So look, Gabriel was almost certainly a hard sell for the vast majority. Where do we go? If you own an Arsenal defender, probably you go away from Arsenal. But if you don't own another Arsenal defender or Raya, I think there's a good argument to say you go Timber or Saliba or Raya, or you get Arsenal defensive cover.
Yep.
But the vast majority have the double up in place, like a Raya and a Gabriel or a Timber and Gabriel. Therefore, it's somewhere between Munoz if you don't have a Palace asset, Van Dijk if you want to go for the obvious. That's probably where I'm going. I feel like it's so obvious it just makes sense. Or you could go a little bit left field with like a Nico O'Reilly at Man City. 7 starts in the last 8. Nori is off to AFCON in a few weeks, but he's been injured. He might get 1 start between now and AFCON. But O'Reilly feels nailed and he's got some great average position. But the vast majority, Dean, are looking at Van Dijk. I mean, where are you? What are your plans?
Van Dijk's a little bit boring for me. Just because
he's very content creator obvious. Me and everyone seem to be going there.
It just feels like a security blanket, really, I think, for most people, doesn't it? It's like, oh, well, Gabriel is the best defender, and he kind of plays like how Van Dijk used to play. So let's go for Van Dijk because they've got a nice little spell of games. And if he plays as well as he should and Liverpool get back on track, then that'll be completely fine. So it's not a bad strategy by any stretch of the imagination. But I do like Man City. I don't mind Chelsea. If you can nail the right Chelsea defender, I think that you could get it right.
Cucurella?
I think Cucurella would probably be the one. Yeah, I think he would be. City, obviously, like there's a bit more scope for rotation. Nico O'Reilly is a decent pick, but what if Vardiol slots over to that side at some point? Ake could come back in, even though he hasn't been that in favour this season. So that's the problem with going that way. But I do think quite a few people will be tempted to go in that direction. So that's something to consider. I mean, personally, I don't have David Raya. I don't have another Arsenal defender. So it will probably make much more sense to me to just go for another Arsenal asset.
And they are the best defence in the league by a country mile, aren't they? They really are clear of everyone.
You know, they don't concede goals. It's like, and the Sunderland game, I think, will be an anomaly. That was a really tough game. Like, Sunderland are a good team. It was away from home. You're coming up against a combination of factors that most teams haven't actually got. Sunderland are still underestimated in the sense that not only do they play on the fact of having the assets of playing chaotic football in the sense that they're good from set pieces, they've got the long throws, they're physical. They're also technically very good, and the players that they brought in the summer have stepped straight into the level of the Premier League. And they also have this go until the final whistle attitude where they never give up. Now, most Premier League teams don't have those assets all at the same time. And Arsenal, I think we'll look at it back at it as being a good point. So Tottenham, I think a lot of people would believe that there's less chance of Tottenham struggling at the Emirates than there is at home. So Tottenham have got some hope because they think that their home form is so bad that they're better off going and playing away. Yeah. But I don't believe that to be true at the Emirates. I just don't. I think there's a perfect bounce back game for Arsenal. They've got such strength in depth. Whether they bring in Nkapie, whether they bring in Mosquera, who
do you reckon it'll be? Because Mosquera plays right centre back and has done so well when he came in for Saliba. And we know Arteta likes the left footer, right footer, but does he go for Nkapie, who's only really, I think, had a start in the Champions League, but Mosquera's play there.
Mosquera's just more in the rhythm of playing, isn't he? That's why my hunch is that he's had more opportunity, he's had more game time on the field, and
done really well.
Yeah, and he's done really well. So my personal feeling, and it is just a hunch at this point, is that will be Mosquera.
Even though it'll be 2 right-footed centre-backs.
Yeah.
I think it will be Mosquera too, but FPL Discomfort, who's an Arsenal fan, he's big on the whole Arteta is so pedantic with the left and the right.
No, I understand that. So it will be really interesting, and I think that's one of the reasons you can't really gamble on picking one of those players.
You've got to go Saliba or Timber, haven't you?
Yeah, you do. Like, that's the only place to go. So that's what I will have to be.
If you wait a week, though, you'll know who it is. And if they play well, Arteta's not going to go Nkapie one week and Mosquera the next and Calafiori the next and Nkapie left back. Like, he's going to make his decision. If it goes well, he'll stick with it. And then you could get a bargain.
Well, that's part of my thinking. I'm not necessarily making a transfer on Gabriel this week. I've got 2 players I can definitely start in defence. I'm sweating on Mark Gahey as my 3rd centre-back.
Right.
Which is obviously, so many players are flagged at the moment. So we need to understand the true injury worries of them. So we'll talk about Gahey in a minute.
Yeah.
But then my other fourth defender is Van de Ven. I don't really want to play him in this game. So yeah, I've got to weigh up whether I do actually even make a transfer, because I agree with you. I think if you can see this week out and play another defender, I know the next game is not brilliant because it's Chelsea, but this is the team that's top of the league. This is the team with the best defensive record probably in Europe, and their fixtures are quite nice from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to world number 23 2 days ago. He produces the fantasy pod for BBC Sport, which is pretty damn cool. And he's 23rd in the world. He started the season with double Arsenal defence. We were looking back at his season gone by, like so far. And I was like, why didn't me or anyone I really know, no content creator started with an Arsenal defender, let alone two? Because we all went, oh, the fixture's bad. We all knew Arsenal were great defensively. We all knew we would buy Gabriel or Raya or Timber after 5-6 game weeks. But we didn't start there because they had dreadful fixtures. They still went and kept like 4 clean sheets in 6. Like, they are fixture proof. We shouldn't see fixtures like Chelsea or any fixture on the radar for Arsenal and go, oh, I don't know about that one. They will still go into every round with up there with the best chances of a clean sheet because they're that good. And Arteta knows how to shut up shop in those big games. So we should consider the Arsenal assets, especially if you don't have an Arsenal defender. But outside of Gabriel, we should give Van Dijk some airtime because that's where most will go. And I do think I'm going there. Now, some, as you say, Dean, there's a comfort blanket there. I'm not going there for that reason, but I know there will be some that perhaps do. I'm going there because I genuinely think with the Liverpool fixtures and with his goal threat, but also he's the only centre-back that plays for a top team that gets bonus, goal threat and DEFCON, as well as good clean sheet odds. Gabriel and Van Dijk are two that stand alone in that category. Mm-hmm. He's playing Forest and West Ham up next. They're the two weakest teams in the league for defending set pieces. Yep. Van Dijk has a real chance of scoring a header. And if he does, and if he clean sheets, you're getting bonus points. And he's been so good for DEFCON. He's got the second highest average of all centre-backs this season. Only Senesi has a higher average DEFCON than Van Dijk. So I'm probably going there. But I do think there's something to be said for waiting a week and then being able to go Hincapié or Mosquera because you know they're going to get a month or two and they're cheaper than all the other Arsenal defenders that start.
Yeah, no, totally that. No, look, I do understand it, and I think the fixtures do make sense, and I think that Liverpool is a team to target generally to try and get in your side right now because it's going to be such an important period for them to win. They'll also want clean sheets, obviously, as part of that. So I can't really say that you're making a bad decision. I'd rather not follow the crowd.
Yeah.
I'd just rather not because I haven't done it all season.
Well, you never do.
Going to benefit me enough, I don't think, like to do that. Like my career doesn't hinge on like having Van Dijk in a content creator space. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas like some people are going to be too scared not to do it because their rank is on public display and their reputation's on the line. Yeah. Whereas fortunately for me, I can have a bit more fun than some people, and maybe that's why I can play the game in a bit of a more carefree manner and just celebrate when things are going well and go quiet when things aren't, and say, "Oh, well, you lot don't expect me to do well anyway."
You're not carefree. You can play a bit looser, or some might say more aggressive, which is fun. Like I think it's the right call to just go, do something a bit different. Yeah. And I do hate the fact that there will be people out there that go Van Dijk just because they're worried of missing out. No, go Van Dijk if you think he's the best pick. Don't if it's just a FOMO thing, guys. And as Dean says, like
in terms of points this season, mate, he's not really up there, is he?
He's not even in the top like 20 or 30. I was looking on the FPL site earlier for his name, and it's not ranked by points. He wasn't there.
Like if you go to Virgil, before you even get to Virgil, you've got Alderete, Tarkowski, Luca Dean, Truffert at Bournemouth, Mateus Nunes, like. Blimey, like he's way down there. But
how many clean sheets have they kept?
Count for much, obviously. But he's still 20. He's 23% owned right now.
Right.
That's going to be rising by at least 10%, right?
Yeah.
In the next, surely, because everyone.
The international break, the transfers have been slow as well. Like by Friday, Saturday morning.
So no one's really done it yet.
Log on and see Gabriel flagged.
Yeah, nobody's really done that yet. That's a good point. I like this point that Glenn brings up, going back to Arsenal for a second, because Gabriel, like the big thing, the big pull with Gabriel is that he's on the end of every set piece.
Yeah.
He's either going near post or far post, and he's like a magnet. Glenn says maybe Saliba will be the main target now on free kicks and corners. This is quite interesting, actually, because this is a big part of why Gabriel's been such a success in this game. It's not just because he's an absolute colossus at the back and they don't concede any goals. It's because he also tops up his points with goals and assists this season. And that's got to like Arsenal's patterns have to change. He has to be replaced now from wherever Declan Rice or Saka's aiming their corners.
And it's the biggest part of Arsenal's game, right? They are working opportunities on the football pitch just to get a corner. They know a corner for Arsenal is such a good route to goal.
By the way, another thing that Sunderland didn't let them have corners. I think they had 3 corners in that game. Yeah.
So smart, wasn't it? And other teams will try similar, but it's easier said than done for some. But yeah, having the ball out wide in those spaces for Saka and Trossard just to win corners is clearly a tactic. Arteta's still going to put the same emphasis on them without Gabriel. It just means there's a new target in town, and it will be Saliba. And last time Gabriel was out for a few games, Saliba got a couple of goals. It was really interesting. It was last season. One came off his bum, I think. But I remember being like, oh, okay, Saliba's now a better pick. And maybe Calafiori too, who's quite useful in the air, will become a little bit more dangerous, but often you think it's second ball with him. I do think Saliba's a great shout. I do think Van Dijk's a great shout. I do think O'Reilly's still a little bit risky until Aït-Nouri's at AFCON, and even then you've got like Gvardiol who can play there and Ake who can play there. Munoz is someone we've not spoken about. If you don't own a Palace defender, again, Palace last time out, clean sheet against Brighton. Like Palace are good for clean sheets. Gahey, Richards and Lacroix have been great, but if you can have anyone and money's not an issue, Munoz is the pick there. So I think we've got options. We'll do a poll. Where are you going? Or in fact, it might be late because we're probably going to move on with the topic now. So we won't poll this because we'll move on. But we'll do a poll on Semenyo maybe. Also, I think we had a member. Dean, I don't know if you caught it. I think someone joined as a member and I forgot to reference it at the time. I'm going to find him.
Jason, he became an elite chaser. Well done,
Jace.
And Jace also just put a comment in a second ago, I think, that I liked. He said, Saliba scored a couple last time when Gabriel was out.
There we go. I didn't see that.
So well done, Jace. You've brought in...
Did one come off his bum? Was I right there?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I do. I think this is really worth noting that Saliba is likely to be that target. Let's just also give a shout out to FPL Hippie, who took a -20 in game week 11 and got a green arrow. As a result of that, has launched a YouTube channel. FPL Hippie now. I don't know if it's just that alone or whether they were thinking of it anyway.
Is it called FPL -20?
Called FPL
Hippie -20.
But good luck with the channel, and -20 is brave to say the least. So well done.
Yeah, and when a -20 pays off in week 1, and then you know you've got a better squad moving forward as well, like fair play. Maybe there's food for thought in that one. Mate, let's talk Semenyo. We're going to show our teams, guys. Stay tuned for that. Semenyo, this is an interesting one, Dean. Don't know how much you've read about this, but the FPL community was having a little bit of a deep dive. Got subbed in the 55th minute. Remember, Ghana are not going to AFCON, so these friendlies for Ghana, you could argue, aren't that important. It's not like it's a warm-up to AFCON like some of the African teams this break. 55-minute sub, didn't look injured, but it was reported as injured. And then later it was reported as he's now left the camp on compassionate leave. And then we saw on his Instagram, he's getting engaged. He's got engaged. There's a picture of him down on one knee. So he looks like he's been granted leave during an international break.
Because he was nervous about proposing.
So he can get, maybe. Like, so he can have some more time, or what, like with
he's fine, isn't he?
Wife to be. He's surely fine. But because it was a 55-minute sub, everyone went, oh, and because he left the camp early. But the fact that they're not going to AFCON, I think Ghana releasing a player for that sort of leave is fine. Like that, it's a meaningless friendly. Why not?
Yeah, he was beaming in those pictures where he was proposing to his missus. He's down on one knee, so his knees are clearly working.
His knees are good. It might be an ankle problem. His
I don't know.
FPL flagged him off that. FPL have flagged him on the site. He is flagged.
I mean, I didn't see the game, so I don't know whether he did. There was a reason to, or whether they've just guessed. I'd like to believe that FPL do a little bit more digging than just like see was subbed on 55 and flag him. I'd like to believe they get someone to go, "Oh, quickly check out that Ghana game and see if he had any see if he was hobbling or anything."
Was there a heavy challenge in the?
Yeah, I'd like to
54th minute?
believe that they do that, because that's still part of journalism, is that you check these things out.
I think they probably just went off the press report, which originally in Ghana was reported as an injury, but that could again be a lazy journalist just going sub to 55. He's injured when he wasn't. Apparently, someone on Twitter was watching the game and said there was no look of an injury whatsoever. And I know the flags on FPL aren't the most accurate, and I know the guy that used to do them. I don't know who does them now, but I don't know if they spend perhaps the time and energy on those statuses. Like Gabriel is still 75% likely to play. Now Gabriel should not be 75%, right? He's almost
dropped to 50, hasn't he?
Out. Huh?
He dropped to 50% now.
He was 75 yesterday. He's 50 now.
Yeah, he's 50 now.
And it says thigh injury. I thought it was his groin, but anyway, he shouldn't be 50, should he? He should be 25.
No, he should be just like 0, so people who don't follow the game so closely know they're playing.
Yeah. So the flag status pinch salt. But with Semenyo, since game week 3, his expected goal involvement ranks 146th of all players in the game. He's had a couple of big hauls since game week 3, but against Fulham, 18-pointer. But other than that, his expected is so low. Are we just holding him because he's so highly owned? Like, he's 8 million now. Like, you can get to Mbermo. You get to Bruno Fernandes. Like, the Man United mids are arguably better owned than Semenyo, whether he's fit or not. Obviously, West Ham at home is a good fixture for him. But Man United are flying at the moment in terms of goals and attacking numbers. I think if I didn't have Mbermo, I'd be moving Semenyo onto Mbermo, I don't have Bruno, and I am considering making that switch.
Mate, Bournemouth's next fixtures are West Ham, Sunderland, Everton, and 2 of them are at home. West Ham and Everton are at home. Like, that's the thing. And when Semenyo's on, he's on.
Yeah. Missed a penalty, though, so he's off pens probably, because Clivert, we know, is often on the pitch.
I think I've got Semenyo for pens, though. I think
True. We didn't know he had him in the first place.
Yeah, didn't know he had him in the first place. I think I got him at 7.6.
Yeah.
He's now 8.1. Like, kind of going to stick with it, I think. Like, I can just see me wanting him back. I'm not too concerned about it. I agree, like, the actual form doesn't look like it's there. But I think this is risky to get rid of him.
So you reckon hold for those 3? And then the fixtures turn a bit after that today.
I think hold for those 3, yeah.
Yeah, the homes especially.
We'll see.
What's the
obviously,
contract situation too. This is what I think you're probably thinking about. But like with the release clause and
there is that's going to be in the background. My hunch, honestly, is that he still stays with Bournemouth for the season.
Do you reckon? Yeah, I think
there's a good chance. Like, if Bournemouth. No, I obviously just speak to people and have to go on their word. But Bournemouth sources seem pretty confident that this isn't a lost cause, just because the cat is now at the bag about this clause being active in January, which they were trying to keep quiet, but obviously clubs find out these things. And
is that his agent putting that out, Dean? How does that get leaked?
Look, obviously, I don't know how. Ornstein was the one that found it out, and there's a few of us that have been digging around this from a club perspective, and they just weren't giving it up. Like I knew it was active in the summer. I knew the clause was active in the summer, and they just would not give any indication as to it being available in the winter. Ornstein's obviously like unbelievable at this stuff, so I don't know where he's got it from. Like, the natural thing would be assume it's an agent, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's to be the case. But it's only for the first 2 weeks of Jan, right, that this clause is active. Now, the problem with that is very few teams ever make transfers that early in a transfer window.
They all hold out.
Very rarely happens. Now, obviously, you've got a bit of a run up here and you can get yourself set. But I think that affects the situation. £65 million is more than 90% of teams are going to spend on a player in January. Teams aren't looking to spend money in January. Like, there's not a lot of money going around. Tottenham have got about 100 million to spend. Man United have got some money to spend if the right player comes up. Liverpool might do And then you've got bits and pieces around clubs like Everton and West Ham and maybe Fulham. So you've got little bits and pieces, but there's not many clubs that can genuinely go and throw £65 million in a lump sum at Semenyo. So
a couple of years ago, 65 felt like a little bit easier to get, but in the last couple of windows, 65 is a massive number. Like Brian Mbeumo was 65, and we know how long that took Man United.
Yeah. Look, it's also like Bournemouth are doing so well. Like, does he want to leave right now? Like, let's see where they're at by the time he gets to the January transfer window, because half the teams that are being linked with him might be below Bournemouth. So, like,
imagine leaving the summer when you've got them into Europe. Like, get Bournemouth into Europe.
Like, your stock will be raised even more. I believe the clause is lower than £65 million in the summer. I think it's closer to 50. So there's even more of a bum fight for you to go.
Yeah, higher wage demands off the back of that.
Who knows? Maybe Barcelona want you by the summer. Like, just hang in there.
Yeah, okay, nice. Good to know your perspective on that, Dean. Thank you. For those that don't know, Dean is a journo first and foremost, FPL manager second. Okay, interesting. When a player's playing for, or there's speculation around his future, I often think, does that increase his performance? Does that make him a better FPL option? Or at times, does it make him perhaps a worse option because of the distraction or the fear of getting injured? But often with contracts in general, regardless of changing club, I always think new contract bounce is a good thing. You want players that are playing for moves or contracts in general. So yeah, I think the back of my mind, if he was injured, if we heard Iraola say tomorrow's press conference he's out, I would sell to Bruno, and I'd probably just bench Gabriel and wait a couple of weeks. Sure. We'll see my team in a minute. But unless we hear that, and I think it's very unlikely, then I think it makes sense just to play him and keep him for those 3 fixtures, as you say. Shout out to Wazzo's in the house. Heather's with us too. Jay, as always, and Roland. Thank you guys, as always. Andrew to FPL River for the support.
Yeah, massive shouts out to Wazza, by the way, mate. Wazza has been doing some great stuff. He has been on some like charity walk recently.
I've seen that.
And yeah, he is absolutely smashing it. He's
putting the miles in.
He's walking for like 10 miles a day, like 10 miles in a go. Like he's doing like 3-hour hikes and stuff. So yeah, big shouts out to Wazza for the quest that he is on right now. Well done, mate.
Good stuff, Wazza. We love that. Right, we're going to show some other assets now. We have cropped for you, so we'll drop them in and move our agenda forward. We're half an hour into today's show. We've got 146 of you watching. Thank you as always for the support, guys. We're with you for another half an hour, so stay tuned. If you're watching on catch up, you'll see we're now doing chapters. You can skip ahead to the bits you like. In terms of this week, Dean, Liverpool are heavily backed. Like home to Forest. This is from Scout. Chance of an attacking return. This is based on the expected goals and assists. Where are you at with Liverpool versus Forest? Because I think that's a harder game than people are making out. Like Forest under Dyche are a different beast, aren't they?
They're a bit. What did I say? Like just the week before the international break, I was like, Salah's time's coming.
You were planning on moving for him.
I was going to go for him before the break. I'm obviously glad I didn't do that. But it's still there. I'm still like tempted to scratch the itch and get Salah in. I don't know how exactly I'd do it, but I do think you have to strongly consider this. I don't know if you saw the German press and the words that came out from there about Florian Wirtz in the last 24 hours or so.
I didn't know. I know he had two really good games, but
the German media are basically blaming Salah for Florian Wirtz flopping at Liverpool so far. They say that Salah has not helped any new signings fit in. He has not laid on any goals for any new signings so far. He's got 3 assists, but they were all for players that aren't new signings. And that he's blocking Florian Wirtz's path to becoming Liverpool's best attacker. There was a proper dig. And they were like, I'm putting words in their mouth here, but they were basically like, hopefully he goes to Saudi Arabia at the end of the season. That's still open. And so little things like that, I'm like, Salah will know about that. Salah's seen that. It's like in some way that has got back to him. And I do think that now Liverpool are adjusting their team. It's going to be more predictable in terms of the midfield makeup, in terms of the way that they're going to play. Salah's going to start getting more chances similar to what he was getting last season. And I don't think he'll ever hit the type of form that he did last season.
Yeah.
But if we're going to see takeoff, I think it's now. And maybe that's why it's worth the gamble. Like how I was on the Haaland train before everyone jumped on it. Because I'm like, this is Erling Haaland. He's not having a bad season. Like, just because last season didn't go well when he was injured doesn't mean that that continues. Like, he's the best goal scorer in the world. Salah's also one of the best players in the world. And he's not going to have a 6 out of 10 season. He can't let that happen, surely. So he has to come to life. And he's got such self-belief and he'll have an ego that means he will find another level.
Yeah.
And even if it's just that he's sticking away penalties and occasionally scores another goal, we're going to start making up room. And you've got to assume that Liverpool are going to go on a winning run. Like, because surely they're not just going to disappear in a title race when they're defending the crown. So, obviously extremely expensive, but I can see why people would be tempted to go there. And I kind of believe this attacking return percentage. I'm not so sure about the Isak one, but I believe that the Salah and the Ekitike ones are worth considering.
Yeah, they've all been worked out based on a start. So they're assuming Isak starts and they're assuming TK starts. Obviously, those two things probably aren't both going to happen, but pretty much whoever starts the same's got a very
How
good
can
chance.
they be above Haaland?
Huh?
How can they be above Haaland?
Haaland doesn't carry assist threat, but also they just see expected points. They just see Haaland versus St. James, going to St. James's Park is up there with the toughest fixture. I expect Liverpool are backed by the bookies to score more goals than Man City this week.
Okay,
Liverpool home fixture, City and away fixture against a tougher opponent.
Yeah.
So again, this week, like, let's talk captaincy now, because these are the captain candidates in front of us. Like, this was a week I was looking at going Saka or Mbermo. Now, Saka, let's say 62% the same as Haaland. Saka gets more points for his attacking returns. Same for the assist, but more points for the goal. You could argue the expected points here are saying Saka, and he gets a clean sheet point, and he has a chance of DEFCON. Saka has higher expected points this week by the computers, by the algorithm, than Erling Haaland. Does that make Saka a better captaincy choice? Well, the algorithms, the analytics guys will say yes. There will be a lot of analytics managers out there this week. I promise you this, even some content creators, because they'll follow the models, that back against Haaland and captain a Saka or captain a Bruno or a Man United attacker. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you don't have to captain Haaland. I personally think Haaland should be top of this list. I think Haaland going to St. James's Park is fine. I think Newcastle have been playing pretty average this season. And I think Haaland is at a different level to what we've perhaps seen from him before. Even in the international break, no signs of slowing down for Norway. 4 goals, 2 against Italy, I think it was. The game before the international break, when I said, when it comes to game week 12, I'll go against Haaland, I'll go Saka or Mbermo. I then watched Haaland and Man City play Liverpool. And that was, Man City are looking so good. So we'll do a captaincy poll now. Are you captaining Haaland, yes or no? Dean, what are you doing? I'm 90% sure I'm capping Haaland.
I'm 100% sure I'm captaining Haaland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean... Yeah, there's just no way I'm coming away from this guy. It's just an absolute machine. Newcastle have leaked goals recently. It's not going well for Eddie Howe recently. 3 goals conceded to Brentford, 3 goals conceded to West Ham. Yeah, I know both of those games were away from home and their home form is much better, but Haaland doesn't care where he's playing. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, the guy's just on. He's just absolutely on. CH says it's his 100th Premier League goal. He will score it.
Oh,
like
good
every
point.
game he plays, he breaks a record. So if this is the one for this game, then so be it.
He has got a terrible record versus Newcastle and Howe, just worth noting. But again, I'm not fussed by that.
Yeah, but also, like, Man City have never played in this style where, like, every goal's basically coming from him.
Good point. This is a City without other talisman like De Bruyne and David Silva and even Foden's not contributing goals. Like, this is all Haaland, isn't it?
I mean, obviously against Liverpool, it's slightly changed because Doku had the game of his life and Nico Gonzalez weighed in with one as well. But that for now, that's not the trend. The trend is Haaland is your goal machine, and he's getting 80% of your goals or whatever it adds up to at the moment. There aren't many times in the Premier League you see a team as dependent on one player to give them the edge as you do with Haaland right now. Like, it hasn't happened that many times. It's like, okay, if he doesn't score, we're in big trouble. I remember years back, like there was one season when Man United relied on Eric Cantona, and it was like 1-0 Cantona, 1-0 Cantona, 1-0 Cantona. Like this isn't quite to that extent, but like we're getting into that sort of territory at the moment. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's Haaland. If I wasn't to go Haaland, then I do think Salah's a good option. I do think Salah's. If you've got Salah and you're going to spend that much money on him, he's got Nottingham Forest at home.
If Salah is in your team, you have to captain him sometimes, or he's not worth the money. You can't justify that spend if you're not ever capping him. So Andrew makes a funny point. AI and the analytics models are not saying Haaland this week, guys. AI not backing the robot to be captain. Yeah, the irony there, him being the robot. FPL River makes a great point. Thank you as always for your comments in the chat, guys. We read every one. Let us know if you're going against Haaland and why. We'll flash a few up. No Dan Burn for Newcastle. Set piece threat, Erling Haaland. Like Dan Burn is their best at the back. So again, I know Dan Burn's playing left back at the minute, but and look, Fabian Schär and Botman or Malik Chow, whoever's
I was going to
playing,
say they've still got some units in there, haven't they?
But Burn is probably the best. So yeah, interesting. He's probably responsible for Haaland at set pieces. Haaland's record versus Newcastle, Wakta. I looked it up. It's something like 2 goals in 6 games. It's not great, but I'm not one really for those records. I think the way Haaland's playing, I'm happy captain him. I do find it really interesting that the analytics models are saying captain away from him. Not for me, but that's fine. They really respect.
I hope some people do go away from Haaland. It makes the game way more interesting.
True.
If people are going to mix it up. So I'm glad that the analytics models are saying that, and people will copy it. So that's
they will.
Good news.
There'll be a lot. Yeah, there'll be some big name content creators that you'll go, oh, they're not as template and boring as I thought they were because they've captained Saka this week or Salah this week.
No,
Nolan says the models tell them
he's a beast, but he's not the best captain every single week. I'm not saying he's the best captain every single week. I just think that it's the law of averages. Like I'm sticking with him because more times than not, it should pay off.
Yeah, and
it's just a safe bet. Like,
there are weeks in the next couple, I think I'll back against him. It's just I don't think the alternatives are good enough this week. I think if Saka had a better home fixture than Spurs, I'd be there. And I don't really want to back against Everton with Mbermo captain. But there are weeks. I look at Haaland. He's got game week. Is it 16? He goes to Palace. I think that's a week I could definitely back against him. Is it? I'm just bringing it up now. Yeah, game week 16. Salah has Brighton at home if you own him. Saka has Wolves at home. And Haaland goes to Man City. Sorry, Haaland goes to Crystal Palace. Saka home to Wolves or Haaland away to Palace in 16? I'm genuinely interested there in a Saka captaincy.
I don't understand. Right, so Haaland's played 20 games this season. He's scored in 18 of them, right? And his record recently, in the international break, he scored 2 against Italy and 2 against Estonia. So he scored 4 goals in his last 2 games for Norway. In his 3 games for Man City before the break, he had 4 goals from 3 games. One of the games he blanked him was that 1-0 defeat against Aston Villa. But before that, he was on a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 games with successive scoring across internationals, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. Like, you can't get better form than what we're seeing. Like, he's just unbelievable. So, yeah, right. Aaron says you need a strong feeling to go against him. Exactly. And I just, at the moment, like watching this guy, I loved watching Haaland anyway. Like, I haven't loved everything about Man City throughout this era when they've come to dominate and like all these different aspects of Man City I don't especially like. But look, my kids want a Haaland kit, and I'm finding it very hard to argue. I'm glad Norway have qualified for the World Cup. Now I'm like, maybe I'll just get them a Norway kit rather than a Man City kit
as well. Get him that night kit. Yeah, it looks good. 14 goals in 11 games. Yeah, thanks, CH. And the good news is he's got his penalty miss out the way, because Haaland's only missing 1 penalty a season max. He's already done that. So yeah, we're good there. Let's move on away from this. We'll skip the clean sheet odds that we were going to show. Maybe we'll save these 2 graphics again for the deadline stream. But we want to touch on our teams as well, guys. So let's show you where we're at. Before we do, just Chelsea's top scorers. Again, Dean, you sent this. Enzo Fernandez is flagged. Yeah. What do Enzo owners do? Do they, if they don't hear in the press conference, or even if they do, let's say he's fit, Would you move if you had money to get to say an Mbermo from Enzo? Would you do so, or even an Ismail Assar, or down to a Minter? Like, there are 3 players I've got, and I'm happy having an Mbermo, Assar, and Minter over an Enzo. But Enzo owners will say they've been really unlucky. He's come really close to goals and assists, and he's dodging points.
Yeah, I think that they're right. I think that Enzo has been a very good own, and I wouldn't want to be getting rid of him. It would take a very strong briefing, I think, or strong words in the press conference to make me drop him out of the team. But obviously, there has been a problem there, so you are playing a slightly risky game. This is a great time, I think, to get Chelsea assets into the team. A lot of people are going to be free hitting this week. Quite a few people wild carding next week. I've seen them start to crop up. And if you're doing that, you want to know who your guy is going to be. Esteval's the one that I just like. I want to go for. There's been a bit of talk. I read an article from a Chelsea reporter talking about the dilemma around Pedro Neto and Esteval, and like which one plays.
I want to play them both, but they both better on the right.
And Maresca loves Pedro Neto's mentality and dedication, tracking. Yeah. You get the full shebang out of him. But Esteval, you can't ignore when a kid breaks out like this. Like,
he is an absolute worldie talent, isn't he? Like he could be generational. Like he's that good.
Yeah, I mean,
taking penalties for Brazil, man.
You can't ignore it, mate. Like it's silly if you don't just ride this along when a player's doing this well at this age. I think you just have to go with it.
And stick Pedro Neto on the left. He's still better than Garnacho and better than like I play him on the left because they are Chelsea's 2 best wide forwards. But all Chelsea fans are desperate to see this kid get more league start. And I get it, the physicality of the Premier League. Maresca's trying to slowly integrate him, but it's like he's our best attacker.
So if you were free hitting this week, how would you rank these 4? What that you would advise people to kind of go for? Assume Enzo's fit. Where would you rank the 4 players that are here?
Do you know, now Liam Delap is back fit and starting, and João Pedro is playing 10. Enzo is probably going to often be a little deeper. I would go João Pedro still. I think he's a great option. And I'd punt on Esteval getting a start because he was so good in the break, and he's always doing well for Chelsea, come off the bench or not. I think Caicedo's goals, they're just not sustainable. Like I'd happily swerve him. But I'd probably go 1 João Pedro, 2 Esteval, 3 Enzo, 4 Caicedo. But again, I'm not even sure Chelsea go and beat Burnley. This is a tough fixture for Chelsea. I fancy us in some of the tricky games, especially at home. But it's so Chelsea to go to Burnley and get a 0-0 or lose 1-0. Like, we're quite soft centre still. And Burnley at home have been quite good. It's not a routine win, this. It should be, but it's probably not going to be.
Yeah, I mean, painful as well because it's the first game back.
Yeah.
It could kill your game week just as we're getting back into it. I do understand that. Jason says him and Palmer could be lethal together. Palmer not too far away now, mate, from being back in the frame. So that's going to be another thing for us to contemplate. Maybe it'll be around that time when we get those 5 transfers for AFCON. Like maybe that's when we get him. Like I think he'll be back before then, but that might be a time to consider getting him in. So we'll look at that, I'm sure, further down the line.
Free hit windows as well. I've done a video on my channel. We'll do more next week. 13 versus 16. In 16, they're the 2 common free hit weeks where most content creators will go, myself included. In 16, Chelsea have Everton at home. Palmer will be around for that. It's quite a nice fixture to punt on Palmer on a free hit. And in 13, worth noting, Chelsea play Arsenal, and many will be swerving Chelsea and Arsenal in that week. Also, Man United play Palace. So if you're heavily stacked on Man United, Palace, Chelsea and Arsenal players like me, and you don't want to have investment in those fixtures, next week, game week 13, is a really good free hit window. And that's when I'm using my free hit, game week 13. I'm sort of 70, 80% of the way there with that.
Very good. Very good.
Should we see our teams?
Yeah.
Let's see our teams. We've called this the team selection and we're 45 mins in, so we've got to stop teasing.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about
Right, let's show our teams. This first up, Dean. Let us know, Dean, your money in the bank, your free transfers, and your rank before you talk us through your plans.
Yeah, I don't actually know my rank. Honestly, like this is one of those moments, I use this analogy a lot, but the game week 11 was very much like checking your bank balance before payday. I just didn't want to look. I just didn't want to look at my points. I couldn't
I've never heard you
handle.
say that.
Oh, you know, oh mate, I genuinely compared to that feeling of when there's just not as much money in your bank as you want there to be, and you've got to check it. And that's how I feel on game weeks like that, where I'm just like, oh, I know my players haven't returned, but I just want to know how it compares. I've got to look at this. So yeah, 40 points was not good. So I'm now at 340k, 348k.
Still decent.
So it's not terrible, but it's not quite up where I was. So this is my team without transfers at the moment. I've got one free transfer. Not sure if I'll use it. I'm not sure. I'm going to wait until towards the deadline to have a look and see whether Semenyo and needs changing and Gahey and things like that. I think it would be silly to make a change too early. Voltemada's obviously had another decent crack in international break. Don't love the fact that I've got two strikers involved in the same game, but I don't think I'm going to change it. Mateta, I think, is a good. I'm glad I got Mateta for this game week. I think that he could be a sneaky good pick.
Yeah, he scored for France as well, didn't he? See the header?
Yeah, I watched the game. Yep. France went more direct in that game, and he's played himself into their plans. So he did very well there. So generally, I think it's okay. I mean, obviously, I have also got my free hit up my sleeve, and I've been tempted to do it for about 3 weeks now, and haven't done it. I don't think I'll do it this week.
Is Gakpo staying, Dean? But just with Wirtz playing so well on the left before the international, I say so well. He had he played well against Real Madrid on the left, and he played Szoboszlai as the 10. It looks like Szoboszlai will stay as the 10, and then it's a coin toss. Is it Gakpo or Wirtz that gets the start?
Yeah. I kind of accepted when I got Gakpo in that you're gambling on the fact he's not definitely going to get a start, but like
half an hour off the bench,
his actual game time could be effective. Yeah, so that was a punt I was willing to take. It hasn't paid off, but I was accepting of that when I brought him in. I don't think I've got anything there on the bench that I would swap him for. I don't think I'd do, if it wasn't Newcastle away, maybe I'd do Reinders, but I'd still prefer half hour of Gakpo at home to Nottingham Forest, I think. So, yeah, I need to look at this in closer to deadline, as I say, and whether I make changes. But at the moment, this is where we're at.
Yeah, okay, nice. Cool. Well, look, we'll do a deadline stream on Chasing Green Arrows. So Saturday morning, you'll see where Dean lands. His captaincy is set. His team doesn't need a transfer. He might end up on one. And then obviously Gabriel, depending on what Arteta says, if you hear he's ruled out for 2 months, you're probably gonna want to make the move. It sounds like Mark Gahey's going to be fine, which is good for you and so many.
Yeah, exactly. So if I am still slightly tempted by Saliba, just because of the set piece threat and stuff. And if I was to have a combo of Rice to Saliba and Arsenal go and win 1-0, then that would be pretty nice. And obviously, it's not unheard of that's the way that Arsenal win games like this.
Yeah, nice. Okay, good stuff. This is where I'm at with my team. I haven't made a transfer. I've got 1.3 in the bank. I've got enough to go Semenyo to Bruno. If Semenyo was out, I'd go Semenyo to Bruno. And I would hide Gabriel on the bench and start Mukiele. I actually don't mind Mukiele versus Fulham, I mean, we've not spoken about individual fixtures, but the way Fulham are playing, if that's a 0-0, I wouldn't be surprised. Fulham Sunderland, and if he does get
0-0,
he probably
I'd be happy with a 0-0.
Yeah, exactly. And if Mukiele does get a 0-0, he's got a very good chance of hitting bonus, and his DEFCON's reduced a bit, but even DEFCON, he's playing right back and his DEFCON's dropped a bit. But I'm happy starting Mukiele if I have to. But as things stand, let's assume Semenyo's good and Gabriel I'm selling, and it's Van Dijk comes in and Mukiele stays benched. Gives me one then good sub. I'm not going to start Mukiele over Richards, and I'm not going to start him over Senesi or a Minter or a Sarr. So happy with my team, and I'm captaining Haaland. I would love double Man United attack though, knowing I'm free hitting in 13, and their toughest fixture, Man United, is in 13, so I can hide Bruno and Mbeumo. on free hit. You know, they go to Selhurst Park, and I don't really fancy them in that. So yeah, it does add to the appeal of buying a Bruno, but I can't buy Bruno and Van Dijk. I've only got one free transfer. So it's very likely they're going to be my next 2 transfers. I'm just not sure in what order.
It is a good fixture for Man United this weekend. I mean, it's Monday as well, isn't it? Which means that you've got a bit more time to make sure everybody's definitely okay. So it's just getting the right Man United players and wondering whether you can definitely trust them. You know, it's not beyond Everton to go to Old Trafford and you know, get a result out of that. Like David Moyes will be desperate to do that at Old Trafford. So I do like the fact, if ideally I'd have one Man United attacker in my team, and that's why one of the reasons I have considered a free hit. But
and Burmo the most transferred in this week.
Yeah, and I understand it. I totally understand it. I think he's looking really good, and I think he's the sort of player that could make the breakthrough in a game like that. Obviously, the one thing we don't know with Man United is how they're going to line up without Šeško.
Yeah. Do you reckon Xerxes comes in or Cunha plays 9?
I'm told that Xerxes definitely getting minutes. So whether that means 5 minutes or he's starting, I don't know. But he's had conversations since the international break started, and it seems he's going to get a run out. It seems that this is going to be his chance. The problem is that Ruben Amorim's never seen him as number 9. And he doesn't believe that he's that type of player. He also believes he has better players to play the 10 role, how he wants it played. So that's why he hasn't played. He rates Xerxes. He just doesn't think his system suits Xerxes. And that's the big problem. Similar in a way to Kobbie Mainoo. Like, he thinks Mainoo's a good player, but he doesn't think he's better than Bruno or Casemiro within that setup. So obviously there's a chance that Cunha could move forward and play as the 9. And then you've got to decide, what do they do in the 10? Do they play Diallo in there? Do they move Bruno Fernandes up there? So that there's a real domino effect, really, as to what happens in that sense.
Yeah, interesting. There we go, guys. Do get your thoughts in on our teams or yours in the chat. We're reading every comment. Roland says Everton need a finisher up front. Yeah, I mean, Tino Barry might become that, but he hasn't been it yet. I really think Mbeumo up front, says Jay, Man United fan. Yeah, and that's the thing. If Cunha's up front, on paper, Cunha's the 9, and Mbeumo and Mason Mount or whoever alongside him in the dual 10s. Bruno's not going anywhere in his role. But actually in open play, Cunha will be dropping shorter to get on the ball, and often the most advanced man on the pitch will be Bryan Mbeumo. So I'm fairly happy. We did see last time out, when Mbeumo scored, he got the 7-pointer. He actually started on the left, and he played Ahmad in the front 3, not as a wing back. That was interesting.
I don't like it, mate. I don't like it. Like they're not at their best.
I saw the lineup and was like, no.
As soon as I saw the lineup, I was like, don't like it. Like,
but it did mean he had Pedro Porro marking in, which was a good thing.
Yeah. I just think, like, for now, your best team consists of having Amad Diallo out wide.
True. They're being Mbeumo and Ahmad have great chemistry on the right-hand side. You want them both on the same flank. They're doing so well as a 2.
Yeah, exactly. They have got a big problem when it comes to AFCON because 2 of their best players are going. Like, I do worry a bit for Man United because I think that their best lineup is gone for the duration of those 2 being done. But yeah, let's wait and see if Amorim overcomplicates things here, because I really do think that he needs to stick with Diallo at right wing back.
Yeah, okay, nice. Good stuff, guys. We've got 1 or 2 bits still to get to. I think we've got another graphic to show you. I'm not sure if we have, then we'll drop it in. If not, then we'll answer a couple of questions. But yeah, a few questions about our deadline stream. We will be live at 7:45. 7:45 UK time. Now, the deadline's not till like 11, but 7:45 UK time. So make sure your notification's set. We'll make sure we've scheduled that stream tomorrow as well, so you can see it flash up on YouTube. I think the earlier we schedule it, the earlier you guys probably get notifications. Team of the season so far, Dean, just 1 or 2 names to pick out. We've not spoken about Thiago. Again, one of the reasons why I want a free hit in game week 13 is I don't own Thiago and I can't easily get there. But in game week 13, his best fixture is Burnley at home. I fancy Brentford at home. And when Burnley away are rubbish, I want Thiago in next week. The only way, one of the ways can do it is free hit. He's the second best forward in the game after Haaland on points.
Yeah, it's a big drop off, isn't it? Like 40 odd points. But
Yeah.
I don't
I know
think
you're not a big Brentford fan either, so you're a Fulham
no.
fan,
So
but
I
he's
was
got a
never
couple
gonna.
of pens in there as well.
But yeah, I mean, it's somewhat surprising that he is the next best thing, because I don't think he's a particularly popular asset. Even though we talk about him pretty consistently on this channel,
He's
very
cheap.
rarely do we actually ever go there. So yeah, so it's one that's unlikely to shift people's thinking. I'd have thought. Again, Caicedo, I don't know how well owned
Madness.
he like. It's mad that he's in the team of the season so far. Like all the midfield options available to us, loads of attacking options, and you've got Rice and Caicedo in the mix. So I find
Midfield
that really
balance.
interesting.
This actually looks like it could be an 11. You put Timber at right back instead of Gabriel there, and you just ask Manoz,
Yeah,
Manoz to play. Oh, you could put Manoz right wing back, Timber right centre back, Gabriel centre back, Gahey left centre back, and play Calafiori as a wing back. Why haven't they done that? I know
be
they've
a
done it
great
in
team.
all.
This will be a great team.
Yeah, that midfield balance of Rice and Caicedo with Semenyo in a free role, and then a front two of Thiago and Haaland. Interesting that it's a back five though. Defender points.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I bet we've never seen a team of the season at the end of November with a back five.
Yeah, and that's what should get us thinking a bit. Roland says, "Is this FPL team affordable?" I don't know. You have to add it up. I don't think that's the point of it.
It almost certainly is though.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No, I think it is because there's no.
Really?
Yeah, because usually you can have Haaland and then you can have 2 or 3 other sort of 8-9 million assets, but other than Semenyo, they're all cheaper. It's Haaland plus.
Well, pick
There's
it.
no Bruno.
Someone
There's
pick
no
it. Let us know
Saka.
how you
There's
get
no
on.
Salah.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that is actually a good point because the
Yeah.
midfield assets aren't expensive. Yeah, someone pick it. Troy's calling it a back 7 with Defcon. Definitely affordable. Yeah. So very interesting that this is where we're at almost the halfway stage, and this is our best FPL team. You played 5 at the back at all this season?
I've only played 4 at the back once or twice.
I'm gonna say I think I'm always 3, maybe 4 once, but yeah.
Yeah, a 4-4-2 is a legit option moving forward. I'm genuinely considering moving to it sort of full time, but yeah, let's see where we land on that one. Guys, reminder that we will have our deadline stream at 7:45. I'll be at Sky Sports News. Dean will be staying up late in San Diego, so come and join us for that. But if you're going to do one thing today, if you've enjoyed the show, firstly, if you're just joining, go back and rewatch it. If you want to give us a shout out, then share us, but also like and subscribe. We would love you to hit the buttons. But Dean, final words from you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. Spread the word about chasing green arrows. As I say, we've got a long stint now of game weeks, of shows, and we want to make sure that this is a big part of the community, place that we get new faces as well of all you loyal fans. So yeah, thanks for coming along, everyone. And I will stay up late and I will be here for the deadline on Friday/Saturday.
Good stuff. 75.6 million that team without the bench. So yeah, more
75
than enough.
mil.
And then you only need 4 subs. They can all be 4 million fodder. So more than enough.
Oh my God.
Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for working that out, Wachter. I knew someone would do it just in time. Guys, we will see you in the next. Shout out to all you chasers. Shout out to CH for modding, all of our mods, all of our regulars, all of you lot. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.